What's up, everyone? It's your boy, DugongEnjoyer, here with another match review. Today, our opponent is ksunfortyeight, and we are playing in round 1 of season 2 of the Ostrich Olympics. So, let's get started. The bans for this match were Commercial Harbor, Outdoor Areas, Silver Lake, and Geographical. So Geographical is part of the map pool for this season. So game 1, stick with the tried and true observation tower. Just super solid as always. So let's take a look at our starting hand for game 1. Projects are monkeys, reptiles, birds. The conservation rewards, ×2, 3 size, 3 cards, 10 money. Not a huge deal. Our endgames are sponsored and research zoo. Looking at our hand here, we have some pretty solid options. I think native is a must keep. And then you can make an argument for almost everything here. Migration recording looks interesting, especially because we have research zoo. Releases are really good on observation tower. We have the condor, which is a bird, not just a project, though not the easiest bird to play. We have the capuchin, which is a monkey. The wall lizard is a lizard, matches the reptiles project. And Expert Asia is just a nice sponsor to have. So I think the rock python we can dismiss because it's a little bit difficult to play considering we need 2 reptiles, and I don't like the idea of going for 5 reptiles. It is a good value animal, but just a little difficult to play. So I decided to go with the capuchin, the lizard, native farm, and expert on Asia. I went expert on Asia over migration recording because capuchin requires America partner zoo, so we're probably grabbing America's first. And so it'll be a while before we get the science for migration recording. And expert on Asia, our sponsor is at 5, so it's just a very nice first action to take. So let's take a look at the starting display. Some pretty interesting animals up here. We have the trio of birds, looking pretty juicy, though difficult to get all 3 so early in the game. And if you start grabbing them up, opponent might start denying them too. There's a sea turtle tank, which could definitely be an option to grab reptiles too. I don't really see an easy way of getting it and doing reptiles this round. So, also on observation tower, there's just not really a good spot to put the turtle tank. There's really nowhere to put it in a nice spot and leaving room for the tower. Like if you put a 2 size here, There's just literally nowhere to put a turtle tank down here. You know, we're obviously not gonna put a turtle tank next to the tower. And there's no way to start a size 2 up here and then play a turtle tank. You know, there are some spots for the turtle tank, but they're super awkward. So, you know, if we really need to play it, we might for the project, but I'm not really too focused on this. There's a Mamba. If we grab Africa Partner Zoo, we could play the Mamba after playing the Wall Lizard. So, but we'll just start with Expert on Asia, grab Americas, take some build actions, maybe look to play both of these. Depends on what our opponent does with their sponsors. So lead with Expert on Asia. Opponent opponent is playing on Park Restaurants. Opponent builds size 2, grabs an X token. We'll grab Americas. Opponent grabs Asia. We build our size 2. And here opponent breaks 5. So, you know, our opponent sees that we have the America's Partner Zoo and size 2. So, I think any reasonable player will play around the Capuchin here. So I don't really expect to be able to pilfer my opponent. If I take cards, they might just take cards. So I decide to just play the Wall Lizard into the size 2 for tempo, and then look to cause the break with my next action. Playing the Wall Lizard into the size 2 is also not so bad, because if we later build a reptile house, we can free up this enclosure and reuse it for extra appeal. Opponent now plays the Hornbill. Moves down build, which is interesting. I'm thinking maybe bird release, and opponent's looking to get a size 2. Otherwise, you probably don't X down build, but maybe you do, just so you have association a little bit higher, since it looks like I want to break. So I do cause the break, get the X token. Opponent takes cards here, draws from deck. I think that, yeah, I mean, I think you can look to maybe deny the lizard or the mamba, / pick it up yourself, but I'm ahead on the race to reptiles. I can just snap up the lizard myself, or grab whatever one that he doesn't grab. And it kind of depends on the opponent's hand, what they want to do with their card's action. So I grab Asia here. If the Frill Lizard wasn't on the display, I would probably grab Africa and then snap up the Green Mamba. But with the Frill Lizard, planning on taking cards action to snap this up next action. And then take a full build Maybe play native. Opponent plays Federal Grants. Very nice. We snap up the Lizard. Opponent plays Bird Breeding. I understand wanting to play Federal Grants first so that you have a better action order. But I think there is a case to be made for doing the project immediately and then taking snapping for the Frilled Lizard. And that leaves me with no reptile on display. So it does run the risk of, if I just have another reptile in hand, it was kind of a sort of wasted snap, but I think, maybe I'm, the opponent might not be able to, like, if I was in the opponent's shoes, I might just stick with the plan of getting the 2-size. Even if I knew that my opponent wanted to snap the Frill Lizard. 2-size is a bit better on park restaurants too, since you get to cover the restaurant. Upgrade sponsors. I guess if you want to upgrade sponsors too, then prioritizing sponsor strength by playing Federal Grants first makes sense too. So here I take a full build action. I build for native, grab the long build vulture. The vulture is a bird. I think it's better than a random card. And we leave a nice 4-size touching the tower over here. Opponent builds a size 4. Plays a sponsor. Plays explorer. Very nice. Some very good sponsors over here. So here, I decide to play the Frilled Lizard. It would be nice to play the Capuchin and look to pilfer, but if we do that, then I think our actions end up being a little bit awkward to, get the lizard out and do reptiles 2 next round. Playing the lizard now, we get a bit of better action order. But I think, especially on Observation Tower, we're getting this influx of appeal. We might not have an opportunity to pilfer the opponent. But I think just having better action order is going to be better for us here. Because I think my original plan was I would play Frill Lizard, and then I would just look to cause the break. And look to get some more value out of native farm later. But we drew native seabirds, which is very good here. Since birds is the project. And now I don't really want to discard any of these cards, so I think I will take the opportunity to play native farm animals. Opponent, very interesting, takes a cards action. I wonder what this 4-size is for. Doesn't want to take animals. Doesn't have any animals to play. So looking to draw some action from the deck, I presume. Not interested in spending an X to snap up like the Secretary Bird or something like that. Just draws from deck. So I take the opportunity to play native farm animals here. We get 6 appeal. Not bad. Not the best, but not bad. And opponent just breaks here. Didn't play an animal this round. I think if you don't have an animal to play, I might have just taken snapping as a bonus. Snap up, maybe the Secretary Bird, and then we can, you can build a 4-size Explorer as usual, and then play the Secretary Bird. Since not taking animals action feels kind of bad there. Builds over the rep with the 2-size. So it displays replenish with the Mandrill and the Alligator. Mandrill, Monkeys is a project, but blocked on 5, so doesn't seem like that good of a speculative pick. I think what I want to do here is snap up the Alligator, build a size 4 here, put the Alligator in it, and then build a reptile house to free up the size 4 and the 2 sizes next to the tower for like super value. We already have the America's Partner Zoo, so the Alligator is a little bit discounted as well. And then after we free up the 4 size, we can put the Vulture in there. I think that looks really good. And here I don't think we need another upgrade, so I just grab the worker on 2 CP, and my plan is to grab the Science 2 rep uni so that we have the Science tag for the Vulture. Displays replenish with Baboon Rock, so I think we want to snap this bad boy up. Opponent takes animals, plays the Quaddy from range, gets a nice 6 discount and 3 extra appeal from Explorer. Very powerful. And plays a llama. So good explore value, but not relevant to any of the projects, which is a little unfortunate there. So here I build, and I build size 4 pavilion. And here I think building the pavilion over here is a mistake. The 5 money is nice, but we don't need the 5 money immediately. We can play the Alligator without the 5 money. We really want to play this Seabirds. And we want to play the Seabirds because we're at 22. If we play an animal before we play seabirds, and seabirds will be unplayable. And we also want to grab a university. So, you know, what does our opponent's actions look like? I think if they had if they have a sponsor to play, then the order doesn't really matter. But if they don't, maybe they just take cards and then break. So we have 2 actions. So that means that we would have to, and I really want to grab a university. So if we spend an X to grab a university, so let's say opponent takes cards, breaks at 4 out of 9, they can break the next turn. If I spend an X to grab, you know, like hand size, then we don't have an X to spend next round on the native seabirds, and animals is kind of in the way. So I actually think that we should build over the clever and clever down animals. And that protects against opponent doing cards break, because we can just grab hand size, and then if opponent breaks, they break. We keep all our cards, like it's not a big deal. We lead next round with seabirds. If they don't break, then we play seabirds, we play alligator. Everything is okay still. Because as is, we would need to spend an X on sponsors first, and then grab a uni. Opponent takes cards, snaps up the Savannah, looking to release their quaddy. But there's also a very nice sloth bear on the display. So if there's ever a break, I have snapping. I can snap up the sloth bear to potentially leech off the project. So I realized my mistake. I'm like, oh, gotta spend the X to do seabirds, and then it's not that, you know, it's not that good for the opponent to break because they have so much money. They're breaking away my worker, but they, you know, have all this money to spend. So I don't hate the position that I'm in. So opponent does break, and now we have to decide what we want to discard. You can maybe discard the baboon rock because we want the alligator, we want the vulture, we want the capuchin. But I think baboon rock you kind of have to keep. It's a sponsor. And so sponsors are harder to come by compared to animals. So I want to keep baboon rock. So I have to discard one of these animals. And I think that, you know, getting to reuse this 4 size is so nice. Putting the alligator in there and then building a reptile house just seems like really good value. It's between the vulture and the capuchin. And I think that, you know, we're probably not going to be able to pilfer the opponent anymore. So I decide to discard the capuchin. I think maybe thinking about it some more, we can maybe find a better 4 size to put in our enclosure here, and capuchin is just really nice. Even if we can't pilfer them, it's a 9 appeal animal for 8 money. Maybe it's just like too good value even without the pilfer. So maybe I should have kept the Capuchin. But I decide to discard the Capuchin. Keep the Vulture. You know, in my head, I was like, oh, well, put the Alligator in there. We'll build a reptile house. And then we'll put the Vulture in there. And then we'll build an aviary. But we already just saw a bunch of aviary birds go. So maybe just forget the Vulture. Opponent builds 2, grabs the Mandrill, because they know we have the Baboon Rock, so I think that's fine. I would have maybe looked to grab the Sloth Bear since you have Predator release. Sloth Bear is a bit better of a release compared to Quaddy. And you having the Sloth Bear means I can't leech off of it. So you could, you know, grab hand size uni, unlock your second worker, and then play animals and boost up association. So here I grab predator breeding. Reptile breeding because I'm looking to play my alligator and then do reptile breeding. And with the alligator, we snap up the sloth bear. Opponent plays Savannah, releases the Quaddy, snaps Penguin Pool, which all makes sense. And opponent puts ×2 on cards here. Pretty interesting. That's telling me, and given how they've played so far, that they're looking to, you know, dig for action. Their hand doesn't seem very good. They haven't played very good cards so far. And so it's telling me that they're looking to draw into something to do. Sun Bear shows up. So I think if this was a blank, I might have looked to do a project, grab size 2 reward, cover the clever down cards, build a reptile house, look to play Baboon Rock, and then grab Science 2 rep uni, and then take it from there. But with the Sun Bear showing up, I think we do want to take cards. And then if that's the case, I don't really think we have time to look to manually play the Baboon Rock. And in addition, when we build the reptile house, we'll get 2 of these 2 sizes freed up. So we don't really need 2 sizes. So I think this is a really good time to play Baboon Rock and grab the marketing reward. Marketing seems pretty solid. Especially because now with the quarantine lab on display, we don't have to grab the Science 2 rep super early. we can play the quarantine lab to be able to play the vulture. And it won't cost us an action, really. Opponent builds a petting zoo. Yeah, just looking to play the guinea pig from display. Again, seems like not much is going on for them. We pick up the sun bear. Opponent plays petting zoo animal badger. Again, solid explore value. 3 petting zoos show up in the display. Fair enough. We build the reptile house, move our reptiles, free up the enclosures next to the tower, and pick up quarantine lab. Opponent spends an X to grab a university, grabs double science. So looking to play this medical breakthrough, it looks like. So in that case, I spend an X on my Soch and I grab the hand size university. I think an argument can be made to grab the Science Tourette for an upgrade, but I don't really need the upgrade right at this moment. I think, you know, sponsors would be okay, but I don't really need the money currently. I think we're doing okay on money. I kind of want to take cards and break. So having hand size just lets us keep some more cards. Since I don't need the upgrade immediately. Opponent does play medical breakthrough. And here I take cards at 3. I could have broken 5 to maybe take cards at 4. But assuming nothing's going on with the opponent's hand, I don't want to let them cause the break by taking cards. So if I take cards here, then opponent is not going to be able to break with their cards, and then I can cause the break. Though I doubt opponent wants to cause the break. They can probably just play the 2 petting zoo animals with their animals action. They have so much money, they don't really need to look to break here. So we draw a couple monkey sponsors. Monkey Park looks pretty good. Sponsorship primates can go. Opponent does play the petting zoo animals. Doesn't play the horse because they don't have cards upgraded and their rep is capped. And we cause the break. Times 2 sort of wasted there by the opponent. So Rhino shows up. Snap up the Rhino. And here we play Monkey Park. Grab some X's and grab some appeal from the Baboon Rock too. We grab the rep, we get an upgrade. I chose to upgrade Association. We upgrade Association here because the plan this round is grab Science 2 rep uni, upgrade Animals, and then play Sloth Bear. Sloth Bear and maybe Chameleon. And then release Sloth Bear. So sort of hoping that the opponent, kind of given what we know about the quality of their hand, it does not seem like they do have a project. Opponent grabs the Peafowl, Asian Bird, picks up the Nile Crocodile. One sec. Am I dropping frames? Looks like I'm having some internet issues. Alrighty. Looks to be better now, I think. One moment, bear with me. All right. That's better. So, opponent denies the Nile Crocodile from us. However, unfortunately, it takes up 3 spots in the reptile enclosure. So, we don't actually have the room to play it. I guess we could build a 5 size for it, but that just feels kind of bad. I don't think that is necessary to do. So, a little bit waste of a deny pick, I think, but I think rightfully worried that, you know, maybe if we do play it, it is really good value. So opponent grabs a partners here, grabs an Australia, which is kind of interesting. I guess there is the cassowary over here. A little bit of explorer value. Upgrades cards. And here we stick with the plan. Grab the university, upgrade animals, get a donation in. I don't really want the 3 size. Kind of saving this area for native farm. So just grab the 5 money. Opponent takes a card's action, draws up the cassowary. Makes sense. Remember, they do also have a penguin pool. So I play the chameleon, a little bit of value from expert on Asia. Snap up the Africa release. It's the scariest thing on display. And, you know, maybe we can find something to release again from this 4 size. Though Secretary Bird was lost earlier. Play the Sloth Bear, boost up our association. Tiger and Cobra show up, which look pretty good for me. Not bad for the opponent either. The opponent has 2 Asia and has a P-Foul coming up, so we'll also be able to play the Tiger. I'm a bit more scared of the Cobra, though. Opponent builds 3 for the cassowary. We do Savannah. Get 10 money. Get a donation in. Cover the Clever. We keep Sponsored Zoo here, since we'll be able to play Quarantine Lab during the break for 2 shields. Research Zoo, I don't know if we're going to be able to grab the 2 Science University here. And Clever Down build. Opponent spends some X's on their sponsors action, plays Penguin Pool and Guided School Tours. Solid. Here we just deny snap the Cobra. We could get a little greedy and just draw from deck, but and then look to snap it up during the break. But our hand is pretty stacked. I think we want to keep, you know, at least Sun Bear, Rhino, Quarantine Lab. There are still dreams of playing this Vulture, but it's looking a little bit less likely. So our hand is like good enough, so we're not really looking for anything else. Doing the math here, we have Primates 2 with donation into Sun Bear Rhino, Species 5 with another donation. Should be enough points to cross. So Primates plus donation is 9. Rhino Sun Bear is 14. We get 4 extra, that's 18. We get extra on Asia, that's 20. And so that's 29. And then the project is 15 plus donation is 18, which is 47. So that is enough to end. We don't really need anything else. Opponent picks up the Tiger, plays the P-Foul, and I believe the Cassowary. Yep. Into the 4 size. So I think a speculative 4 size from earlier. And we can just break here. Don't let our opponent do their project. Discard. National Park. Don't think it matters here. We have a way of ending the game. Here I pick up the Rhea. We grab Quarantine Lab, and we pick up the Rhea. And so this X token is actually going to come quite in handy. We also decline to put down a 2 size, since we have we don't need any more 2 sizes, and we want to put some expert on Asia pavilions here. And we want to leave this block over here open for native farm animals. Opponent gets a shield from Medical Breakthrough, draws 3 cards, and snaps up the Kangaroo. Opponent builds over the Clever, Clever's down cards. A lot of points from these birds over here with the penguin pool. This is 11 plus 8, 19 points. Yeah, we were a bit ahead. Now opponent's caught up. Gonna do birds 4. So, was feeling pretty good, but I'm glad that we are going to be able to end the game pretty quick, because I think if we give our opponents some more time to, play some more animals, they have the tiger they can play. Maybe they have a chance to catch up here. So opponent curveball does research, also worth 4 points. Fair enough. Grabs a worker over here. Yeah. If they think they have enough time, they can definitely look to build, grab an X token, play like Tiger, go to like 90 something, and then do birds for maybe 5 if they have another bird. But I'm gonna try to end the game ASAP here. So the Quarantine Lab gave us an X token, which is very nice, because we can hypnosis them and spend the 4 X tokens to do a project. And so we can do Cobra Rhino, do a project, and then we do Sun Bear Species. So I think so the Cobra ends up being a really good snap for us. It's like an extra 9 points, since we get to put it in the 2 size next to the tower as well. Spend 4 X's, do primates. I grabbed money here. I should have grabbed 3 X tokens. I just didn't realize that it mattered. Thought it didn't matter. I was like, oh, X tokens, I can't constrict it. I have Quarantine Lab, but it doesn't matter. But I neglected the Quarantine Lab endgame, and we should have totally grabbed 3 X tokens so that on our association action, we could grab Africa Partner Zoo, which is going to give us an extra shield. So if we lose by 3, I'm going to be kicking myself. Opponent builds a 5 size, as expected. And we get to play Sun Bear. An extra 8 points there. And do the project. So 109, not a bad cross. Opponent Opponent's behind 30 points. I'm feeling pretty good about this. They can't do a project, so they can really only take animals. They actually flashed me an eagle, and then they took it back. So if I gave them, I think one more turn, this game might have went. I think if I gave them one more turn, they might have had a chance, but opponent plays elephant and kangaroo. So I did consider denying the kangaroo, but I felt like they didn't have a big herbivore to flock with. I didn't know about the elephant. I thought they would maybe want to play the tiger. And so if they were going to play the tiger, then the Rhea is just better for them. They have penguin pool. So there it is. Got them 11 points. So 101, all of a sudden, with an extra endgame. So all of a sudden, not feeling so great. Robert, you asked if I could have Cobra into Sun Bear and Association 9. Cobra, Rhino, take their animals. Association 9. So we started at... How much would that have been? This is 9. This is 8. So 7 plus 12. 17 plus 12 is 29. Species is 18. So 47. Yeah, you might have been right there. You might have been right there. And that probably would have been better. Assuming that crosses, I think that's better, yeah. And that doesn't let that means they can't build. And they can't, so they can't play any of these animals. Good call out. Yeah, very nice. I didn't even see that. I didn't even consider it, but yeah, because the Cobra is 9, so it definitely would have been enough. Because before my calculations, I was calculating a primates 2 plus donation, which would have been 9, and so this is 9. So if that was a cross, this would have been a cross. So yeah, that was a punt actually. So looking at end games here, I mean, opponent has federal grants. They missed on guided school tours, missed on penguin pool, 2-point end games. The game ends 118 to 116. Yeah, I mean, if opponent had a one better end game, maybe diverse. If they found a diverse, the not getting the last shield on Quarantine Lab would have cost me. But more importantly, going Cobra, Rhino into Sun Bear into Project definitely was the main thing. I shouldn't have even let that be a possibility. Because if they have a better end game and they find a better end game, they just beat me, even if I do the Quarantine Lab correctly. So ending with Sun Bear Rhino is just way better. Cool. So a little lucky to take down round one. Let's take a look at game two here. So, in the season 2 of the Ostrich Olympics, if you and your opponent are playing different maps in game 1, the maps are mirrored in game 2. So, because I played map 1, opponent played map 5 last game, this game I'll be playing on map 5, Park Restaurants, and opponent will be playing on Observation Tower. So projects are Herbivores, Asia, Americas. ×2 and 10 money on the rewards track, and Uni and Partner Zoo on the same level. So good rewards, but not not in a rush to win anything that's super contested. Endgames are architectural and conservation. So looking at our hand here, we have quite the doozy, in a good way. I mean, I think you could randomly choose 4 cards out of this, and it would probably be okay. Like we have the Bison Tapir. Tapir is double project. Bison is triple project. Cock is a very nice pilfering monkey. We have Science Lab. Geologist is quite nice on this map. Wombat's an herbivore, and there's also a release to go with it. I mean, goodness gracious, the options. So my initial inclination was to do something like this. Maybe like grab Asia, do Asia 2, grab a worker on 2 CP, grab Americas, play Tapir, look to play Bison round 3. Assuming we like find in Americas. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. But the round 1 project just seems a bit better here. I think tempo is really the name of the game, in the way that the Arc Nova meta has developed. It's all about projects and speed. And so getting out early projects is really critical here. So that's what I decided to go with. I want Wombat plus a release, and then it's kind of like, what do we keep in addition to that? I think for sure Science Lab. And then you can kind of make an argument for maybe one of these cards here. I kind of like the Macaque. Having the release almost certainly guarantees that you'll be able to pilfer them. But if there's not an easy way to play the Macaque round 1, since we'll do like, maybe we can build 3, grab, we can't grab a worker on 2 because we want the sponsor upgrade for Science Lab. So let's say we even grab the worker. 3 size is, unless we built it here, we build it here. We have 21 money after building. Play this. We have sorry, we have 24 money after building. We play this. We have 15 exactly. Okay, so if we start here, we can look to try to grab Asia, but that means we either don't upgrade our sponsors or we have to grab worker from bonus, which I really try to avoid doing. Snapping or two size is just so much better. Two size is super good early, I find. So for that reason, I decided to go with the tapir. And the tapir we can play by without covering the 5 money by grabbing an America's Partner Zoo. Or we could grab the 5 money and we have enough money to build a 2 size, play it, play the wombat, release it, and then play the tapir. So that's what I decide to do. And tapir is double project versus macaque is single project, though. The pilfering is quite nice. So let's take a look at the display here. Couple animals of note. The panda is always something to keep an eye on. It's just such a good value animal. You get so many points for the cost. It's really efficient. So I'm always looking to play the panda. It's one of my favorite animals. And it also fits double project. We just need a bear. We're going to have an Irby. It's also like, opponent obviously would love to play it. The Ghoul's Monitor is a size 3 Australian, which can be released, which can be leached off of with my release. And besides that, I kind of like Hydrologist. Small mention of Science Institute for the Science Lab endgame. But yeah, so opponent build size 2 next to the tower. We build size 2, we grab the panda, and I build a size 2 over here to grab the panda. My intention is to grab 2 size to cover this 5 money and play the tapir in here. The panda, I think I'm just going to pouch with the wombat. Yes, it is quite nice, but there's no guarantee you're going to see a bear during the game. If opponents pay attention, they're going to know you have the panda, and they're going to be on the lookout for bears to deny you. So I think also, since we're releasing the wombat, I really like to get a little bit of appeal, so having something to pouch is quite nice. I'm not going to pouch anything else. Opponent grabs Asia. Play the wombat, pouch the panda. And here, opponent just immediately breaks 5. I think that's fine. They want to put some pressure on my association. It does look like I am telegraphing a release. So here, I'm pretty disincentivized to grab a worker on 2. I also really don't want a worker on 2 because I want my sponsors upgraded. So stick with the plan. Australia release, grab 2 size, cover the money, upgrade sponsors. Now here, I think opponent should maybe snap up the monitor, because it's a very nice project to leech off of. It does run the risk of me breaking an opponent not having any income, but action order is fine, I think. Snap up the monitor, I break, build size 3. It doesn't touch the tower, but so be it. Play whatever they were intending to play plus the monitor and then release it. Seems fine. But opponent does play animals. Plays the hornbill. That looks familiar. Didn't they play that last round too? And does not boost down build this time. So I think that's a mistake. I think you do want to grab this monitor here. So here, there's a choice between playing the science lab and then drawing up the monitor, or playing the pier and then digging it away. I think digging it away is a little bit better, because next turn I want to play the science lab and draw up the hydrologist. I think it's a pretty good sponsor, and it's going to be a better than a random card. So dig that away. Nothing else super scary on the display. Don't want to dig something and having something really scary show up, so leave it as is. Opponent builds another 2 size. And here we play Science Lab, draw up the Hydrologist. Opponent takes another Animals action, plays the Dusky Leaf, just enough money. And doesn't choose to Clever. So maybe looking to take cards. Consideration for clevering down cards and then just breaking here. So I X down build. If I cards, then opponent can break with either cards or sponsors. What I'm looking to do is, now that opponent can't break, I can play the Science Institute from range, and that's going to give me a big boost on the Science Lab endgame, so could be worth a shield at the end of the game. And it's round 1. Don't have to be too efficient with your actions. I think it's a great opportunity to just get this out here, and then, Science, what's the, is it Science Museum? Any of the big science sponsors now become threats, so I like that. Yeah, opponent takes cards and play Science Institute from range. Opponent doesn't break here, play Science Library. And very nice, the Porcupine shows up, which will let me do Herbivores 2 next round. So that's quite nice, and I can get a ×2 on my sponsors, just animals, Assos, do a project, and then just cause the break. So here we draw from deck. I was thinking we could drop the Water Playground. Would not have been bad, but with the porcupine, I like the idea of drawing a random card, and then if it's bad, we can dig it. Versus drawing up the water playground, I don't know if I really want to dig away the water playground. With upgraded sponsors, I can always play the water playground from range as well. So here I just draw from deck randomly. So very interesting bug. I have 11 income coming in. I'm gonna build my 2 sides over here. So I'll have one hex touching the park restaurant. So my income should go up to 12 and I should be at 13 money. However, the game doesn't register that the park restaurant is supposed to give you income. So building next to it doesn't trigger the income. And so you miss it. So if you start the break with nothing next to the park restaurant and then you build next to it, you don't get any money. So small little bug that I noticed there. Ultimately not a huge deal, but every dollar counts. So very interestingly, opponent opts to grab a Australia partner zoo. I think unless you have 2 more Asian animals in hand that you can play pretty easily, I would probably just do Asia 2. As I mentioned earlier, tempo is super important. Get your projects out early, get these purple income, snapping, 2 size. Really, really critical. Anytime I don't get a project out round 2, I feel like a little behind. I'm like, oh, like no round 2 project, like I hope my opponent doesn't have one either. Otherwise, I'm gonna feel behind. So, I'll have done 2 projects to my opponent's 0, and it's gonna feel really bad. Opponent upgrades sponsors. I play the porcupine. Dig away expert on Os. Ornithologist is good, but birds is not a project, so I think we could try to do a little bit better. And get a pelican here. Unfortunately, we can't release it again. Or we didn't release it. We already used the release on the wombat. Opponent plays a 5 size. Draws a random card. I think that the opponent is trying to play the Australian Predator, and is looking to leech off my release. And so that's why they weren't concerned with grabbing the lizard or the reptile. So if that's what I put them on, opponent is not going to be able to take an animal's action anyways. So I don't feel an urge to cause the break immediately. Don't think there's much that the opponent can do. And so I got to decide what to do with this bonus, right? If I grab 10 money, does 10 money do me anything? It doesn't do me anything right now. I could maybe build for the pelican. Like 4 size over here. Play hydrologist. Play water playground from range. That's one line. I instead opt to grab a ×2 on my sponsors, and I'm looking to play Polar Bear and Hydrologist. Since I don't think my opponent's going to be up to much, I kind of like spending the time here to get out some nice sponsors. Release of Patent shows up. Very nice for me. I have 3 science already, so going to keep my eye on that one as well. Opponent X's down animals. So again, that tells me, you know, they don't have much to do. If I cause the break, it's not even that bad for them. And I have like these sponsors I want to play. So I choose to X down build, actually. You know, I have no money. I'm not going to really be able to build. So I'm just going to look to play the water playground from range as well. So I'll be able to play 3 sponsors next turn. Opponent plays Talented Communicator. So that's an interesting turn of events. Do we care about breaking away their worker? So again, I think these sponsors are much better to play early. You know, Hydrologist, we've already covered up some water spots, but it's still going to be able to give us a decent amount of money. It's an early water playground for some appeal. Polar Bear for the appeal. I think that, yeah, I mean, opponent's going to be able to grab a university. I don't think they can do a project. Otherwise, I mean, they could do Asia 2, right? I think they should. But I think getting out these, I think considering they didn't do Asia 2 earlier, they might not want to do it, given the opportunity now. So that's why I choose to play these sponsors still. I could have maybe played the Hydrologist first to get some extra money from these, but they have a water tag, so I'm effectively trading, you know, water playground I'm going to play here, Polar Bear I'm going to play here. I'm trading 1 money for an appeal and 2 money for an appeal. I think that's a good trade. I think if it was 4 money, I might choose 4 money over 1 appeal. But in this case, I'm just gonna grab the extra appeal. Caracal not bad, gonna fit in our 2 size. And migration recording shows up. Very interesting. Opponent doesn't know we have the Pelican. So, yeah, they grab a university. Again, I think probably should have done a project. Just do Asia 2. So we snap up the migration recording. I think that they're, you know, with this snap, I'm going to try to set up a situation where I can maybe play the Pelican and release it before the opponent is able to play their Australian animal. Because it's what it's looking like. They got the Australia Partner Zoo. They got the 5 size. It's looking like they're trying to release something. So opponent draws from the deck. They can't cause the break, so I X down animals here. Opponent chooses to play Quarantine Lab. So I have some options here. I think that I can just break immediately, which is okay. I don't think it'd be bad. And then we can cover the size 2 over here. We'll grab 20 income, go to 22. We can build a size 4 over here or over here. That'll refund us 4 money. So go to 18, play this, go to 14, and we'll have enough money for the Pelican. Oh, and we also get 10 money. So yeah, that's not the money's not an issue. But there is a release of patents, so we could just play the recording and then look to cause the break and then kind of play patents from range too. So we could just do that. So we play recording, opponent X's down build. Doesn't need to build, makes sense. And here, not much else to do. Let's just draw from deck. Pick up the Duke and the cable car. So very nice. Duke is Asian, and it can go in the 4 size after we release Pelican. If we release Pelican, and if not, we can build for the Pelican. And if we have the opportunity to release it, we can. And if not, we'll just play the Duke in it. So Caracal goes, and if opponent doesn't break this turn, then we can get the cable car out. Opponent does indeed opt not to break. So we get our cable car out. And lo and behold, I mean, we are now basically 20 points ahead going into round 3. And we have no partner zoos, no universities. Opponent has 3. But we've done 2 projects. We have snapping, we have 2 size income. I'm feeling really comfortable. I feel like we are super ahead. Not super ahead, but we're ahead. And if we can finesse a situation where we play the Pelican, then we release the Pelican and deny them this leech. I think we are sitting. Then we'll be really, really ahead. Opponent does opt to break. Drawn from deck. We build a 2 size over here. Grab an X token. Snap up, release the patents. So did the math. If we build a 4 size here, we go to 15, play patents, go to 10, and we get 1, 2, 3 money discount from building, from hydrologist. So we'll have 13 money, which is just enough to play the Pelican. So we do just that. We play release of patents, give our opponent some money. And here, kind of an interesting decision. I chose to grab the Science 2 rep uni to uni block my opponent. So they can't grab Science 2 rep, they have to grab double science. that being said, I think there's an argument to be made for a couple other options. I think grabbing double science could make sense. It just gets us our sixth science for Science Lab Endgame. Or we could grab Asia Partner Zoo, just to make our Asian animals cheaper, and maybe do Asia 2 sometime soon. Small argument for America's Partner Zoo, but I think that's the third of the options. I think something in favor of not grabbing Science 2 rep is that not uni blocking the opponent sort of incentivizes them, or like they feel better grabbing the Science 2 rep uni with their association action right now. So that's like definitely a consideration, like a psychological thing, like, hey, Science 2 rep is available, you can grab it, upgrade animals, take animals, get another upgrade, and then you can release it. So a consideration there. And maybe we can even grab hand size. Hand size would not be terrible. So, opponent does associate and grabs double science. So, kind of working out for us. Not scared of the migration recording, not scared of the 4 size. Maybe just overlooked it. Maybe is willing to risk it. I think if I were in their position, I would probably just look to release immediately. Even if migration recording was not in play, I think the game flow of release into grabbing uni is better than grabbing uni into release. Because there's a small chance that I, take an association action. I play like, I take cards. I play a breaking animal, and then I break, and then maybe if you didn't have the X tokens, you don't have a chance to do the release. Play the Pelican. No money to do the build action with, but all good. I was expecting the Predator, but opponent plays the Saltwater Crocodile, so a little less good of a release, but still would have been great. But now we've kind of finessed them, and we've stolen this release from them. They snap up small animals and Snowy Owl. So here we do the release, grab 3 X tokens. We keep conservation over, what was it? Architectural. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I grabbed the X tokens here because my plan is to take cards and then break. So, otherwise, we would need to cards and then X down build and then break. So this is one action better. So time to, really put the gas to the pedal to the metal, hit the gas, and look to accelerate the game. I'm going to build a size 4. I take cards. Howler's interesting. It's American, but we can always snap it up during the break. It's not a huge priority. Draw Meerkat Den, which is very good. With Cable Car, we draw Rock Monitor. Similarly, it's very good. So expert on Europe, large animal is going to be the discard. Interestingly, opponent chooses to break. So not enough money for their animal, I guess. Doesn't want to take cards. Can't X anything down because they're maxed on X tokens. So I guess I did need to grab X tokens to break, but who could have known? Instead of breaking, maybe spend the worker just to grab 2 rep, to grab another upgrade, and then force me to spend 2 X tokens to break. So let's draw from Science Lab, draw from the deck, and we pick up a red deer. So now this bamboo forest is looking extra juicy, especially with the porcupine we can release later as well. So here opponent plays the rhino. Takes a project, probably species. Here, so I think there's a couple lines. We can obviously just play the red deer, release it. We can release the porcupine immediately. I kind of want to play the meerkat den before we play the red deer. And I want to release the red deer first so we can play the duke. And otherwise, we kind of need to keep this 4 size free. So I have a bunch of X tokens. Let's put them to use. Spend 3 X tokens to play Meerkat Den. Cover the rep. Get my upgrade. Upgrade animals. Opponent does herbivore breeding. That's their first project of the game. So this is round 3, I believe. Does their first project. Or is this round 4? I think this is round 4. So super late. I think they should have just done Asia 2 round 2, just to get the tempo on board. Otherwise, you risk falling really far behind. Yeah. But anyways, does the project, gets all their upgrades, association, and build. Fair enough. Size 2 bonus. So X down build here. No reason to build. Kind of in the way. So want my rep for taking animals. There is an argument for not upgrading animals and maybe upgrading association instead to go after those cheap donations and just get some more points. Since upgraded animals doesn't get you points, but upgraded association does. For sure, a reasonable. I was thinking with upgraded animals, we'll get a rep, we'll release, we'll get a rep, we'll play Duke, we'll get a rep, and that'll let us probably next round do 2 projects, grab a worker, and then kind of do 2 projects. Otherwise, we're a bit far away from having 3 workers. So play Red Deer, we play Rock Monitor. Get some nice appeal from Cable Car and Meerkat Den. And opponent breaks 4 again for money, I guess. Builds another. They built another size 4. Needs money. Yeah, I don't know about these breaking actions. I guess it's okay, but it's just such a bad use of an action, right? Just breaking for money. I wonder if there were better things to do in the meantime, but it's just so slow. It just feels really slow. So we release, get our value from migration recording, grab a worker so that next round we don't have to grab a worker as a reward. Maybe an argument for grabbing 12 money. I guess generally you grab the worker first so that next round you can grab the X tokens and do like project, X tokens project. But since we already grabbed the X tokens, maybe we can just grab the money. It might be like more useful immediately. Since there's no difference if you're doing project, spend X tokens project. Opponent spends all their X tokens to grab University and Partner Zoo. So no Rhino project, doesn't have species yet, and no yeah, it doesn't want to do the release because they're waiting on Asia 5. So they haven't done Asia in so long, right? I feel like you really want to have like done this project much earlier. Like these extra unis and partner zoo is just not relevant. Right? Like having snapping earlier, denying me critical cards, just better. Spend next year on our sponsors, just cause the break. An argument for taking cards first, I guess, before breaking, but just looking to go fast, just boom, boom, boom. Try to end the game ASAP. Draw with Science Lab, we draw a Tapir, which is kind of perfect. It's an herbivore. And it's Asian, so we have Asia 2 that we can do here, as well as a release. We also have the giraffe on display, so That's more points than the Duke. Cover this last spot to get the points for Hydrologist. And oh, that's unfortunate. It doesn't touch the tower. Opponent clevers down cards probably. Spends their first action Xing down build. Fair enough. So we're at 72. To peer into Giraffe is 7 plus 9 is 16 points. Releasing the Porcupine is 9 points. So that's 25 points, which is 90, puts us as 97. So not enough points to cross, unfortunately. But we are super far ahead. So I'm not too worried about having a big cross. I think if we can end the game this round, we probably gonna win the game. So we can just play these two, do an Irby release, and then we can just build for one of these monkeys and end the game. Maybe the lemur because it has a rock icon. Or if we can find a 2-size animal to play. So dig, dig, dig. Can't play that. Dig. That's useless. So no playable animals found. Not a huge deal. Opponent will just release the porcupine and then, look to play one of these monkeys. Opponent plays Sun Bear. Thank you, Polar Bear Exhibit. We get 2 appeal for that. And plays the Howler in their size 4. Does Asia 5. So last round they spent all their X's doing Partners U Uni. I feel like they could have just did the Sun Bear to do Asia 5. Because they didn't take a cards action, so they had the Sun Bear. So I think I would have. They were behind, but it was looking like I was gonna break too. So I think just getting the project out and then, looking to release the Rhino or something like that was probably the better play. So we stick with the plan. We're gonna release the Porcupine. We get 9 points, and we are at 99. So can just end the game with the Pavilion next turn. Opponent builds a 5-size, draws from deck. Yep, and just end the game with the Pavilion. Right at 100. Five size not even in use, just does their Rhino project for species. Ends at 77 with a few end games. yeah, I think, let's say they played Sun Bear last round. They would have had an opportunity to, maybe they can release the Rhino. They'll have a 4 size free. Play a couple more animals. It'd be a little closer for sure, but I think the lost tempo from, again, not doing the early projects really hurt. And I mean, look at if you look at my game, right? I spent 0 actions grabbing partner zoos and universities. I spent 5 association actions, and I did 5 projects. That's sort of the name of the game with the meta these days: speed, speed, tempo. If this wasn't on the reward track, I probably wouldn't have had time to grab a uni. I just had projects to do. Power migration recording as well. Super, super good card. Yeah, and then not playing this to release immediately as well. Kind of a big mistake there. Couple end games for the opponent. Couple end games for me. I mean, 23 with one more animals action could have been a little closer. But hey, it's all good. Shout out to the opponent. Shout out Ostrich Olympics. Shout out my single viewer right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this match review. I will be going over the finals from the previous season of the Ostrich Olympics with Propaganda Panda sometime next week, I believe. So stay tuned for that. But for now, as always, I'll see you guys next time.